Right. As you can see, I'm somewhere else and I'm with friends, so just excuse the noise if you can hear it. But I'm here to do the Six Nations review, the Women's Six Nations review of the first weekend. Now, I didn't I didn't watch the full matches owing to a busy life. As you can see, I'm somewhere else with friends. But going by YouTube highlights, I'll just talk about it like that. First off, France versus Italy. Now, the first half was cagey, to put it like that, as France scored like one try in that first half, and Italy did well to remain in the game. But in the second half, it was a very different story, as France laid down a marker with a bonus point win to show that they're here to potentially steal England's crown. Now, Italy didn't end the game pointless though, as they scored a neat consolation try at the end. But one thing about watching the highlights was that never have to think about it. Yeah, I saw that France had a try chalked off for whatever reason. Now, for those of you who watched the full game between France and Italy, can you please tell me why France had one of their tries chalked off? Because I just didn't see it. But yeah. Secondly, England versus Ireland. Now, the world champions were looking to pick up from where they left off last year, whilst Ireland were looking to beat England for the first time since 2015. But this didn't happen, as England scored 3 unanswered tries in the first half to leave Ireland pointless, and went on to score a bonus points try in the second half. Looking back at that try from Jess Breach, that was an amazing run from her to lay down that, or to score. Yeah, you know what I mean, to lay down that score. But Ireland had answers of their own as they battled to score 2 tries either side of England's 5th try. And that showed that Ireland were here to compete. And the result itself was the closest margin from that game for like over a decade, or so I heard from commentary anyway. But looking at highlights of that game, yeah, I'm really find it interesting that England never end the game by kicking the ball out. They could do that, but they just don't. They show that they still want to score, even though when the game has already been won. That's something I like from England. As for Ireland, I think they can take plenty of positives from that game. Okay, they weren't blown away, but one of the positives that they could take is their resilience. That's something Ireland can take away from that game. Finally, Wales versus Scotland. Now, the first half was end-to-end stuff, wasn't it? As Wales edged Scotland by 3 at half-time. The second half was just as entertaining, as Scotland were in front from the majority, but Wales were determined to score, especially with a clock in red. But they were turned over as Scotland went on to win, or so I thought. But then Scotland were penalised for something or the other. That saw Wales regain the ball. And the one thing I found funny, well, not so funny, it wasn't funny for Wales, of course it wasn't. But the one thing I found unfortunate for Wales is that after their line out, they had a botched pass, which ultimately ended the game and gifted the game to Scotland. And for that, I say, Wales ultimately lost to themselves. Like, for a game to be won and lost in that sort of fashion, it was just unfortunate for Wales, who will no doubt go back to the drawing board to see how that went so wrong. And they could have potentially won the game as well, but wow. I mean, I guess it could be said that Scotland were lucky to win that, because had that not happened to Wales, they could have gone on to score and start the tournament with a win. But, of course, that didn't happen. But, yeah. So, what are your takeaways from the opening weekend of the Women's Six Nations? Of course, each side can make their own improvements heading into the second weekend. But what are your thoughts on this weekend? Also, not just on how the players played, but on the weekend as a whole. What are your thoughts on Saturday to Saturday matches? And would you rather a couple games played on a Saturday or one game on a Sunday? Or one game played on a Saturday and two games played on a Sunday, as is the case in the men's tournament? I'd like to know what you think.